All right, we're recording.
All right. Because I'm looking at the phone that has the minutes on it, I'm going to have to, this is like the blind leading the blind. So if Josh, you could just guide me through this.
Okay.
So first things first, public input, right?
Yes.
All right.
No, additions or changes to the agenda.
Oh, changes to the, all right. Thank you, Andrea. Changes to the agenda. Any changes anybody wants to discuss anything else or add anything or take anything away? Hearing none, we'll go forward.
We will go forward to public comment.
Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move forward to student voice, right?
Approval of the meeting minute.
Okay, no students will approve the minutes. Someone else is going to have to do that because I was not at the last meeting.
They look good to me, Alice.
Okay. They were enjoyable to read, but I couldn't vouch for what had gone on.
Well, you still need a second. You don't have to, you can still approve minutes even if you weren't there. And we can't move forward with approving them unless we have a second.
Okay, then I guess I'll second it. Second the motion.
And I'm good with it.
All right, and we will approve of them. Next item.
We have budget communication.
All right, Josh, you want to handle that?
Sure. So since we last met, I reached out to Jet Service again and got a quote on the annual report project that we did again, and it falls within budget again just fine. And just to do like a little recap on it, the annual report is a 8-page booklet that we send out to every household in the Barre area. We use a service from the post office called Every Door Direct Mailing. So we're able to just print a bunch of them, and the post office takes care of the rest and drops them off in front of everyone's door. So it makes it super easy. It's kind of the same thing that like Kinney Drugs uses when they send out their flyers to everybody. So very straightforward. And I'm glad I reached out when I did too, because I've had some of my colleagues in other districts reach out to me about who we use for this service, because apparently the people that they normally use have already said, like, we're at capacity through the spring and you're going to have to find somebody else. So we've secured our spot with Jet Service. So that is good.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. And so on top of the regular 8-page booklet, you know me, I'm all about videos. So Chris and I are going to produce a budget video series that's going to go along with that booklet. And so it'll be a 4-episode series that'll be leading up to, the early February, mid-February, which is when the annual report will get sent out. And each video will focus on a particular item in the budget and the impact that will have on students. And so normally within the annual report, like I've done this the past 2 years, we have budget content, but then we also have like 4 little mini stories that I write on it could be anything from staff or students or just programs that have been implemented or whatever. But to bring it full circle, I plan on making each of those 4 articles represent the same topics that each video episode is going to address. Mm-hmm. So that way people can kind of make the choice to digest the information either by reading the articles or by watching the corresponding video to learn even more about what that topic's going to be. And then at the end of each of the articles in the annual report, I'm going to have a little QR code that you can scan with your phone. So I don't know what those 4 topics are going to be yet. Let's say one of them is, I don't know, something to do with increasing ELL staff. So let's say you read that article, there's going to be a QR code at the end of it that you can scan with your phone, and it'll take you right to the video about ELL. And so that'll happen for those 4 stories. So it'll kind of be like a little like mini ecosystem basically of the content and the message that we're trying to send out. So people can either get what they want to know on paper, or they can take it and get it on their phone or their computer or whatever. And we're going to work. Hopefully, I'm trying to secure this right now, but we're trying to work with the tech center on those 4 episodes to try to kind of up our game with like the production value of it, because they're amazing at what they do. And with me and Chris with our weekly videos, it's just me and my camera and him, and so it's only as complex as it can get. So anyways, we're going to try to make those videos stand out and kind of cut through the noise even more. So that's the plan there as far as the like more story based content goes. And then as far as like the actual budget content, we'll get more into that once we have some like hard numbers. Like once a budget is approved in January, it makes it a lot easier. But from what I've heard from people, it seems like at the end of the day, people are less concerned about how we get to that bottom line number on their tax bill, but they mostly just want to know like what that bottom line number is going to be on their tax bill. And so I'm just kind of keeping that at like the front of my mind, is like, how can we make this as simple as possible for people to just understand that, whatever the budget's going to be when it goes out to vote, if they vote or they vote no for it, just the impact that'll have on their tax bill. And so it's hard for me to understand too, but we have people in this building that do truly understand it, and there's people on the board that truly understand it. So I'm just going to lean on them as much as we can, but I just want to make it as straightforward as possible.
One of the things that interests me from particularly last year's budget situation were a lot of the private social media groups and pages that sprung up. And I was wondering, thinking about this, I've had a lot of quiet time in the last 2 months to think about things. And is there any way that we could not necessarily counteract it, but have somewhere where people could put their comments, their questions, even if they're, disgruntled, that the disgruntled comes to us rather than out into the world. And I was trying to think about what could possibly help that situation.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you're thinking of something like that, something that could just come to us directly. I mean, every year when it gets to be budget time, I always go back on the website and I enable our budget website. It will have all our videos will be housed in there, all of our documents will be housed in there. But that being said, we could kind of give it a little upgrade this year, and right front and center just be like, have a question or a concern or anything like that, and we could have a little short web form on there, and I could set that up. So I mean, it could go to me, it could go to the board's email address, it could go to Chris, it could go to whoever. And then that could just be a place where people could go and get information about the budget, but then like on the spot, if they're reading about it and they have a question, they could literally ask it right from that same page.
Yeah, because I think that would solve a lot of difficulties with rumor and hearsay. That, I read this on whatever site, and all of a sudden it becomes gospel. And if it comes to us directly and we can answer it and say whether it is a correct assumption or whether it's something different, it certainly would make a heck of a lot of difference with trying to counteract something that might be incorrect and floating around.
Yeah, no, that's a great
Because then
idea.
you have to search for it. You have to go, social media site to social media site to try and find it.
Yeah, well, and plus 9 times out of 10, if a question's going to pop up for you, it's going to pop up while you're reading about it. So why not give them a space where they can just ask it right there?
Yeah.
we would probably need to, like, if we had it set up to go to multiple people, like a group, like the entire board or whatever, you know, seems to be best, we'll probably need some sort of like procedure on like who should be the one responding. And maybe you guys already do that as a board. I don't know. But just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the response becomes a public response as well. Sonia, you're on.
Thank you. So to a couple of things, we had our finance committee meeting the other night. Josh, you weren't there? Were you there?
No, but Chris filled me in Wednesday morning.
Yeah. So we did a quick. Lisa did the presentation, the draft presentation of the listening session presentation that she's going to give, and we got a lot of good feedback about it and how we can explain the education funding formula more simply. And so I think we are working on that, trying to figure that out. So that will hopefully help. I'm also hoping that we can do how we always do the budget presentation. What is it called? The info session, or I don't remember what
the day before town meeting.
The day before. But
yeah.
I'm wondering if we can record something before that so that we can, for people who are doing absentee voting, because if people aren't able to show up that night, they could watch that ahead of time. And the other thing I wondered is last year, I think before the third budget vote, I went to do aired out with JD. Yeah. And I wonder if Chris and I maybe could go, maybe Sarah as the head of the finance. I don't know. Maybe someone should just go and talk about the budget. And I think that'd just be another medium to like be able to tap more people who don't necessarily, maybe they're on social media, but they're not going to delve into the website and they're not going to read the paper. And, so that just might be another group of people we could target.
Definitely. And I know Chris is totally willing to go back on JD's podcast. He had a good experience there. And
I think the earlier the better, because we are competing against early voting. And yes, if people are doing early voting and they don't have any information, it makes it hard for them to make a good choice. Guy, what's up?
My hand.
Yes.
So that was one of the questions I had, whether the budget committee had any special requests or recommendations around the communication thing. Number one. Number two is, I think I touched on this a little bit last time, is I understand people are interested in the tax rate, and I think we got caught up with that last time. And I don't have a particular suggestion, except it's complicated, and I understand that to try to simplify it. I think that's an honorable thing to do. I'm hoping we can do it. I looked at the budget information the other night, and there was some projected potential tax rates, and I used to think that was helpful, and I don't know whether it is or not at this point. And I know we have some people in the sidebar who are not even interested in the tax rate, but are more interested in the number, which is, I think, fairly interesting. Now, I don't know what kind of voice those people are going to have. I'm just throwing that out. I don't have a particular suggestion at this point. What we've done in the past, I think, has worked fairly well. But I think we can't trip up on that this year. But we'll see.
So it sounds like we have a plan for budget information. Anything else to add for that? Anyone?
Not at this current moment. I'm sure like as we get closer to January, stuff is really going to speed up. And in the meantime, Chris and I are going to be working on really solidifying the content and what those 4 major topics are going to be that I was talking about earlier. So we've already been brainstorming, but we're going to come together and get, a solid list on what we want that to be, and then go all in on those things.
Yeah. Are we voting on the bottom line at the next meeting, Sonia? or is it the January meeting?
The January meeting. So the next meeting, which is next week, is the listening session.
Yeah.
And so we'll have a presentation of draft 3, and then we will have a listening session where hopefully community members will come and give us their feedback about the budget, or about, you know, how we're spending our money, or whatever their thoughts are. And then, you know, we'll have a chance to discuss it, and then we will finalize the budget at the first meeting in January.
You know, the other thing I'm thinking about is, you know, I don't want to focus on COVID, but you know what? it's been a real issue, you know, and I don't know how to spin that in terms of, you know, and I don't want to lay blame on anybody, but you know, certainly this year has been very different in terms of, you know, we're not in a state of emergency, for example, and how that has affected how we have, as schools, the school boards have had to react. I don't know if there's at least an honorable positive spin we can put on that, because I think what it does is, if we can put a positive spin on it, it honors everybody who has tried really hard to do the best they can, you know, including community members and teachers, you know, administrators, you know, the community. And, you know, I don't know if there's like one paragraph we could put about that, you know, you open up, you know, we were hoping by September 1 that this thing would be done, and it wasn't. And so here's the stuff that we've had to work with. You know, you don't necessarily focus on it, but, you know, be upfront. I mean, you know, the bottom line is we're dealing with voters. I mean, you saw the article who, you know, whose kids have been out, you know, for a number of days, you know, that could or could not affect the vote. I don't know, you know. I mean, I don't know if people are any happier this year than they were last year, you know.
Yeah. Well, that might be something we can find out. Andrea, you have something to add?
Yeah, and I'm actually going a little bit off topic, but while I'm thinking of it, because I don't want to forget, there had been discussion about when the pistol program got cut from the budget, and I could not recall that ever happening. The one time it was suggested, there was the largest group ever that showed up at a board meeting at Berrytown. So I did a little bit of research, and the pistol program was never cut from the budget. It was not run last year because for pistol, you have to commingle your students, because you're calling them out of different classes and putting them into a pistol class. And because of COVID, they could not allow the students to commingle. So pistol hadn't been taken out of the budget. They just couldn't run it because they could not mix the children together. And they thought that was going to be the case again this year. That's why they didn't implement it. So pistol has never really been cut from the budget. So I'm wondering, are we making sure we're keeping it in for next year? Because people have been screaming about, you know, we need things for our students who excel. And it, in fact, has never been cut from the budget. It was, we can't do it because of COVID.
That's a good question, and we'll have to keep that in mind as the whole board and the budget committee and us as the communication committee go forward. So that's a good idea to keep that on the checklist to make sure that we communicate well about those various programs that may have appeared to have been budgeted out, but they're not.
And I plan on being in attendance for that listening session next week too, because I'm sure like a lot of the things that get brought up during that are going to like sway my direction for, you know, the content we're going to produce around the budget. Like if I see some, you know, recurring topics that people keep talking about, then we should talk more about it. So, and who knows, Andrea, that could be one of those things.
So Josh, in terms of the Career Center, I'm trying to think. I don't have the piece in front of me, but how much are we talking about the potential changes or vote that will probably happen in March, depending on what happens at the state board meeting, obviously. But Does that appear in a bullet point somewhere, or
I think it's gonna need to. Yeah, but yeah, I haven't. Oh, someone's at the door. Hey, sorry, I'm just in a committee meeting. Yeah, that's all good. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. You were asking about
the career center stuff?
Career Center, yes,
Yeah.
in the town meeting day vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine we're going to need to put that in there somewhere. I mean, the thing with the Career Center, at least in the past years, of they've kind of made their own version of the annual report, and even like in the budget sections, we usually don't include their budget information. It's mostly strictly about the district. But that being said, it's going to be on the ballot, I believe, on town meeting day. So it's going to be, something people need to be aware of. And if we're already sending that out, maybe we include something of that. Or the other option is if the tech center is already planning on, producing maybe like a one pager about that, we could always loop it in to the same mailing that we would send out through Jet Service. So it could be, just like an additional page that's slapped onto ours or something like that. Because I know even last year I had a discussion with Penny about that, of kind of tagging on their little one pager that they made into ours because we were already mailing it out. So that way they didn't have to mail theirs out, an additional time.
Yeah. Sonia?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that they're going to want to put something together for every single community, because every community is going to be voting, whereas in the past it was only our community that was voting. So I think they're going to have to explain, like, what is it that's on the ballot? What are you voting for? Not how to vote, but this is what you're going to see on the ballot, and this is what this means for the community. I would think that they're going to want to do that. I assume they are, Guy.
Well, I mean, I know they've talked about that, but let me walk that back a little bit. Let me state it differently. They're probably, regardless of the vote, how the vote turns out, there's probably no budget implications this year. Is that not correct? I mean, well, maybe there are, though.
I think there will be budget implications. I don't think it will. I think there will be some budget implications, but I don't think they will be necessarily as big as if they decide to move off site, let's say. But I don't think that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to move forward. That's the question. Are they going to continue to utilize, our business office versus, trying to hire their own business manager in the next 6 months? I don't know. So I'm not sure.
I mean, I would think at least in the next year or two, there wouldn't be a lot of major changes, just to make sure that there's a stability and make sure that the new board gets their feet on the ground and, try to figure out what it is they're going to do. The reason I asked the question a different way is that, if there were going to be major budget implications for us, maybe we need to talk about it more. But if there aren't, I don't, I think they focused on the new governance and, we call it a day, yeah, you're probably correct. I mean, I think a separate, I know they'll be doing, some stuff, and so maybe we don't mention it a whole lot, except put we probably have to put the line item in our budget, though, right? Well, no, we don't, because it's going to be, well, that's an interesting thing.
No, I think we still have it in our budget because we won't know until the same day whether their governance passes. So then it's in our budget, and then they create their own board, and then I think they adopt their own budget.
Yeah.
So then it gets.
And I think the other piece is that the state will probably be issuing some guidance on how to make the transition for schools such as us and Randolph that actually have the tech centers as part of their district, and how, under that new governance piece, how that's going to work. So I would anticipate that they should have something as well.
Yeah, discussing all this though, like I noted down, like I should reach out to Jody though, just to bring her up to speed on what our plan is, because who knows, they might want to tag along, and if they got a message to send out, they might be able to just do it through the same means that we are.
Yeah. All righty. Sonia, anything?
I have one last thing that I forgot to say. When we had our finance meeting, we also were hoping that Josh would help us with a FAQ page. And I think there already is an FAQ page, but we're hoping that the listening session and maybe even the thing that Alice was talking about, if people are asking sort of the same questions, then, can we not just post it on our website, but can we share like, hey, here's some frequently asked questions on Front Porch Forum, social media, whatever, where people maybe are paying more attention than going to our website. Because it seems like, certain people will pay attention at certain times, and we want to make sure they have access to the answers when they're ready for them. So.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that Chris brought up to me on Wednesday morning, was specifically the FAQs. So yeah, a page did exist in the past, but we certainly can revamp it, and we can link people directly to that page. So, on Facebook or whatever. So that way, they don't have to take the effort to go to our website. We can kind of just put it in front of them, on those platforms.
So is it fair to say that we're at least out of the box with a little bit more knowledge than we've had in the past? I.e. contracts, i.e. Reevaluation, i.e., well, Berry City's going to do a reevaluation, so that may be out there. But certainly in terms of more solid information, we're probably on better ground than we were last year. Is that a good assumption?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. I mean, so I think that we can be confident in the numbers that we throw out there,
Yeah. Okay. Have we covered that enough to go on to our next item? And Josh, you're going to have to read that for me.
It's the mobile app update. So I'm also going
to
pull up my phone because I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, excellent.
So you'll see two Josh Allens in a second. Let me just get this going. Okay, so share screen. Okay. And then there we go. Can people see that? Oh, it looks like the meet call is in the corner. So that's normally not there, but anyways. Can you see that or no? Did it go away?
It went away.
Oh crap. Hold on. Share screen. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now it's up. Can you still hear me fine and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so this is the home screen of what the BUUSD mobile app is going to look like. Currently, it is only installed on my phone because it is not on the Apple App Store or the Android App Store. I think it's called the Play Store. But basically, this mobile app is an extension of our website. So it is created by the same people that our website platform is built on. And so it reads content directly from our website and puts it into this mobile app. So it basically, we're going to design it so all the most, common things that parents would want, whether it be, lunch menus or just access to Infinite Campus or their teachers, email address or phone number or anything like that will be easily accessible. And so just to preface this app is not fully complete at the moment, hence why it's not on those app stores. But I can give you a preview tonight and you can get a pretty good preview of what it's going to be. So starting here at this home page, this is where people will land whenever they go to the app. It has a list of calendar events here, so you can see, you know, all the different board and committee meetings. It also has school vacation days coming up, and so we can customize these calendars for, you know, more school events or any sort of things that are going on. So right now I just have it set to vacation days and board meetings, but we'll get more in depth on that. And then it also, at the top here, it has the slideshow of the most current news that's happening in the BUSD. And so, like, for example, we posted the thing the other day about the vacant school board seat. So right now, if someone were to go to the app, they would see this right away because it's the most recent story, and they can click into that and then get more information about it. So Berry City voters needed, and you can get, you know, all the information you need, and you need to contact Carol Dawes if you're interested. So anyways, if you were to go to the front page of our website right now, you would see the same story. And so it, again, it's an extension of our website, and it just makes it much more user friendly for, it'll be for, you know, our staff, our parents, and students can download it, or really, you know, anybody. And so anyways, I'll go back here and can I pull this? Yeah, I can pull that up and out of the way. So then we have posts, and this is kind of just like a list view of all the news. So there it goes, it's loading in. And I don't have it set up yet, but right now this is only pulling information from the BUUSD website. I'm going to be adding in information from all of our school websites. And so let's say you're a parent and you have a kid at Berry City School and a kid at Spalding High School. You're going to be able to go up here to this filter button, click that, and there'll be different options in here. So right now it's just BUSD. There'll be different options on here, and you can hit that little green toggle switch and turn them on and off. So if you're only interested in Berry City news and Spalding High School news, you can make the app work for you that way. And you can turn off Berrytown and, you know, whoever else that you may not be interested in. So you can kind of customize it to your own needs, or if you want, you can look at all of it. So let's see, let's move me over there. Next, we have the events tab, which includes even more calendars that I have in here. I have all the Spalding High School athletic games. So anyone can come in here and see where our sports teams are playing. And if any of these are going to be live streamed, we can have the link to the live stream right in there. So that makes it super convenient. And then moving on even further, we have our directory. And so here's a list of all of our staff that work in our building. So if you're a parent and you want to know, you know, how to get hold of your child's teacher, if you want to know how to get a hold of your child's teacher, or literally anybody that works in our district, you can go and scroll through this. You can click on them. There's a familiar face right there. So there's my little profile. So if anyone wants to know how to get a hold of me, you know, my email address is right there. They can click it, or they can click the phone number and call me right away. And this works with anybody. So that's a nice feature, and you can put a face to a name for people. You can also go up here and search for somebody directly too, just as a quicker way of finding them. Sonia?
Did I see that has your class and when you started at the district?
Yeah, that's just for me because I added that extra information. That's not that way for everybody. But yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. But okay, it's not for everybody. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we may actually be able to do like a survey of alumni, you know, that work in our schools and get that information. But I was just filling out my own profile, so I just added that stuff.
Well, it's kind of neat. You graduated from Spalding, so yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yep. And eventually, too, we're going to be able to make it so staff have their own logins to our websites, and we can eventually make it so staff can update their own profiles. So once we get to that point, if a staff member was an alumni, they could go in here and add that themselves. I just have that ability right now because I'm like the admin for the website.
And will that also cover like snow days and any emergency closings or anything like that? We'll have a banner or something that'll run across.
Yeah, exactly. Because part of our process is posting like an alert on the website and that'll transfer over to this app as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, and once we get it set up to, it'll have the ability to send push notifications to people, just like, you know, your mail app does when you get a new email on your phone. There's like a notification right on the front screen. And so it'll be the same type of thing, and it's all controlled from our website platform. And so like if Chris is calling a snow day, he has like a snow day guide. And so he knows, you know, one of the steps is to post that alert on the website, and there's a little checkbox that says send a push notification, and it'll notify people who have the app. So it's just kind of another way of letting people know beyond a robocall or a text message or an email or whatever. And then so beyond this, there's like a more section, and we can do anything with this. I just have a few links in here so far. It's all of our social media pages are in there. And then I got a link to our lunch menus, which, what is the name? Lexington Independence updates on their own. So I don't have to touch that. And then a link to the Infinite Campus portal. As we begin to use this more, there's going to be more ideas of like, you know, what are more common links that every parent is looking for, and we can easily add them in here. But anyways, I'm really happy with how this is turning out. It's a way more user-friendly version of the website for people who only want to get like just that quick content. Like, you know, they don't want to go digging and digging. They can just easily, you know, just land here and be like, oh, I need to contact my child's teacher. Or, oh, what news is going on? Or, you know, when's the next Spalding High School basketball game, or, you know, something like that. So it's just, it just makes our communication a lot more modern, I would say.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I think also what folks are looking for, because I've seen other school applications that are incredibly duplicative, you know, that you may have to, even though you go to the school app, you still have to go to the website to find anything more, because it isn't on the app. And so anything that links it all together and gets all the information in one place is a very good thing. Guy, comment, question?
Yeah, just a question. So how much work is this actually, Josh? What in terms of
setting it up?
Yeah, in terms of setting it up and, you know, all that stuff.
Not as much as you would think, because the app itself is kind of like pre-programmed, I guess you would say. So whenever I'm trying to edit anything on this app, I do it from the same place where I edit the website online, and it's just a different section of that control panel basically is for the app. And so I'm not in here, you know, like programming and coding and all of that. It's a very like easy to use control panel. Oh, hold on, someone's trying to join.
So is it's basically grabbing information that's already available?
Yes, it's already on the website and
repositioning it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Huh. Yeah, and it makes it easy for me too, because I can just post something on the website and I know it's just going to land here automatically. It's not like I have to do it, you know, twice.
Okay. Guy?
No, I'm okay. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So we'll look forward to some good stuff quickly on our phones. James T. Kirk would be proud.
When do you anticipate the final product?
So my goal is for the, you know, beginning of January, but I'm still waiting for our company that we work with called Final Site. That's who runs not runs our website, but that's the platform it's built on. I've been waiting for them to get back to me this week on like one of the last steps, and I haven't heard from them yet. So hopefully tomorrow they will, but then it takes about a week to get it to populate on the actual like different app stores. So once it's on those app stores, it's out there. So right now it's just installed on my phone because they gave me like the direct link to it. But yeah, I'm hoping like within the next couple of weeks, it should be out on those app stores.
And excellent.
And once it is, then it's on us to kind of, you know, make a big campaign around it and get people to start using it. So
it's a free app, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's totally free.
I'm thinking fundraiser in the future, though. Just,
Yeah. Yeah.
All righty.
All right.
If we don't have any more questions or any more concerns, what's next?
Let me just get my phone figured out here. Okay, I think.
Promotion of out of district schools.
Oh, yes. We're still talking about that.
Yes. All right. Got my phone put away. Okay. So, yes, promotion of out of district students. So, since we last met, I met with Rye Hoffman to discuss his attendance at some of those events in the area that 8th graders go to that have school choice. And when I had spoken with him, he had already attended one of these events that was in person, and that was for, I think it was a combination of Chelsea and Tunbridge. And so he was at that one along with other schools that, you know, they also have school choice for. And then he said there's also going to be one coming up soon for Washington 8th graders that is completely virtual, but he's planning on being at that, you know, in the best way that he can, you know, virtually. So that's coming up shortly. And to go along with this, he mentioned to me that, like, you know, when you go to these events, there's almost kind of like this unspoken competition between schools of, like, you know, who can kind of, you know, win over these students, because, you know, we want them to attend our schools. And, you know, he said, like, you know, some districts have, like, you know, really flashy, you know, like swag or t-shirts or, you know, fidget spinners or whatever you say. And so he's trying to just, you know, make our presence seem better at these events. And so one of the things, you know, at least in my power with the website that I wanted to work on him with, is building a interactive course catalog. And so we've begun the work on this, and I was going to share my screen and just give you a preview. But the whole idea is Rye can be at these events with like an iPad or something like that, and quickly be discussing with these students, like, hey, you're going to be a freshman next year. What are you interested in? And he can quickly pull it up and click on grade 9 and click on any subject and instantly show what courses are available to those kids in that subject. And it's totally interactive for any grade in any subject area. So let me pull that up really quick. Let's see. So share screen. Let me know when you can see it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so here is the digital course catalog. So I'm not sure if 100% of our courses are listed in here. Rye Hoffman's assistant, Anna Ryan, has been working on me with this, and she's been inputting in a lot of these. But like I said, so let's say you're a sophomore in high school and you want to know what English courses are available to you. So you can quickly go right here. You can choose English, and you can just see that list just changed. And then you can choose grade 10 because you're a sophomore, and boom, there's your 3 courses that are available to you as a sophomore and in the English subject area. And so you can click on sophomore English, and it tells you more about the course. It tells you, you know, prerequisites, credits you'll get, all that stuff. And you can do this for literally any combination. So if I choose grade level all English, there's all of our English courses that we offer, and you can click on any of these and get, again, more information about them. It works with all of our business courses, you know, literally everything. And so this is going to be a really good tool for, you know, the use case of what I said with Rye. It'll be really nice for him to just quickly go like grade 9 English and you know, show those kids what's available to them. But it's also going to be useful even beyond that. Like if you're just like, you know, literally anybody and you're curious what's available to you, this is like a super fast way to figure that out, because the solution in the past has been, you know, to look through our program of studies, which is like a 70-page document, and scroll and try to figure out, you know, what's actually available to you. And it's not straightforward or easy at all. And so with this, anyone can go in here and see everything we offer and just learn more about it.
Now, is that open to the public so that if a parent wanted to look at that, they could?
Yes, it's currently not live at this given moment because like I said, Anna Ryan has been helping me add these things. So it looks like they got to be almost done by now. This has got to be almost everything, but I'll double check with her, and then literally all I got to do is click this little publish button down here, and it'll be live. So
yeah, because I think parents would be very interested in that they could in somewhat compare.
Yes.
Guy, you have a question?
Yeah, I should know the answer to this, but what's the process of registering as a sending school student at this point? So that's my first question. And the second question is, if there's a process, is it available online? And the reason I asked that is I just learned that the Career Center just added an online registration process to their website a year or so ago. And I think that's part of what increased the applications.
Yep, and I just recently helped them blast out that admissions page that they had. I helped them send that to all of the I think it was 7th through 11th graders from all their sending schools. They worked on getting me all those email addresses. So yeah, we sent that out. Sonia?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, as a parent who has scrolled through the catalog, this is amazing. And I love that you can just click on it and see what it is. I wonder, is there a way for us to like differentiate the classes that are required, things like civics and wellness and financial literacy? Because that would be interesting for parents to maybe know that those are required courses, or someone who's looking at the school like, oh, they require financial literacy. I want to make, I think that's a cool thing that's something that, or community service or whatever. Maybe community service isn't even in here, but the things that we require for graduation, even with just like a star or something to show like this is a required class that everyone has to take.
Yeah, no, I discussed that with Rye actually when I was meeting with him about this, and the other idea that he brought up as well is making different like common career tracks and the courses that they would recommend if you're interested in going into a certain career. Like if you want to be like a financial advisor, like, here's a list of, some of the higher level math courses that we would recommend if you want to move on into that area. And have it be interactive, just like this, where you have a list of, common career paths, and this is what we offer and how you can get there, rather than having that, discussion all the time with your guidance counselor. Like it's something you could go on here and they could have all these, recommendations ahead of time.
Can I just chime in on that though? But I think in addition to that, even just not in a really specific, like, oh, I want to go into finances, but I really want to go to college. What are colleges looking for? Oh, they want you to have at least 2 years of foreign language. And, so I think like a college track would be helpful too. That's less like, I know what I want to do with my life, but I think I want to go to college. So what should I be making sure that I'm taking,
Yeah. And luckily, like I got to give Anna Ryan a shout out in the guidance department, because she's like really good at like building this stuff. And so like between her being Rye's assistant and just Rye, Rye knows all this stuff in his head. So like if we can just get it out there in an easy to use interactive way, like, that's the best of both worlds.
Okay. Mr. Howard, do you have a question or a comment?
Oh, I do. And as a parent who moved to the area about in 2016, I remember going through the process of looking at different schools and figure out where we want to live and crossing off cities on a list. Like Montpelier got crossed off for taxes, Barry City because the schools were horrible. So we ended up in Barry Town. And so my question with this website is, if you're trying to recruit more parents from sending kids somewhere else or moving to the area, is are test scores, are they favorable compared to other schools? And if so, wouldn't that be something you want to put on a site? Because that's really something that parents like myself were looking at. I mean, every school offers a lot of different things. It doesn't really matter if the test scores are horrible if you're not passing the classes. So that's my question.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Josh. Yeah, and it totally could be something that maybe not added to this particular page, but the whole idea is taking our program of studies and making the whole thing interactive, because the course catalog is just like a portion of the program of studies, and this really benefits to being interactive where other things maybe don't as much. But test scores and things like that could certainly be included in the overall thing that we're trying to build. So does anyone else have questions on this particular thing before I stop sharing my screen?
No, just let us know when it's ready to roll so we can talk it up.
Yeah, by the looks of it, it looks like almost everything is in here. So I'll double check with her in the morning, and who knows? It could be up tomorrow.
Okay. All right, next on the list.
We have a COVID communication update.
All right. How are we communicating COVID?
So just me personally, since we last met, I have fully moved over to Infinite Campus as my main messaging system. This entire time we were using a different platform called MailChimp, which we still use for like our broader communications. But now I'm using Infinite Campus for our COVID close contact emails. And oh my goodness, just in the last month, that has saved me countless hours of time. Because like, if you think about it, all of our student data is already in there. So for me, I'm able to, I receive a list from the nurse, and I can just select the students who are on that list, and it just pulls together the message. It pulls together, the student first name, last name, the school they go to, all the stuff that needs to be pulled into that message. And oh my goodness, it saves me so much time. So I've been so much more efficient now when it comes to that. And I'm still very bogged down by COVID cases lately, particularly this week. But now that we've moved to this system, like I would be much more underwater right now if we were still using the old method. So anyways, we still got a lot of cases coming in, and the numbers are high around the state. So, it's not a surprise. But anyways, just our process internally has been like so much better. Josh, you have a question?
I do. And I got good news and bad news about this one. So yesterday, ironically, I got the dreaded text message saying that one of my kids was close contact. As my oldest daughter, she's fully vaccinated. But I was really happy that the text message had her name on it, because it didn't before. And the reason that was good is because it said, check your email, check your email. I never got an email. I was checking all day. My wife didn't get an email. They never came through. Checking spam, whole 9 yards. This never happened. And I was asking my wife, like, did you call the school and change emails or something? I was going to call today, but I didn't. But hey, you're here. I didn't get an email. So it's okay for my oldest. My youngest aren't in the same situation. I'd have to actually know how long to quarantine for and all that kind of stuff. But I am happy the name's on a text message, because that would have saved us all kinds of trouble. We had to hold all 3 kids home to call to school in the morning, and God knows when they start answering the phones. So I just want to report that for you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And yeah, part of the reason your child's name was in the text message is because we are able to pull that now from Infinite Campus. We can send text messages through that now. And regarding the email, was this yesterday that you were sent this message? Because I'll
yesterday about 4 o'clock.
Okay, so I'll follow up with you after this, and because I can check like the message logs that I sent, and I can see, maybe it failed on delivery or something, but I can email you after this.
Okay. Any particular feedback on that as whether people believe it's successful or have any questions about it? They're switching over to Infinite Campus.
From what I've heard from families is the emails and everything are being a lot more reliable now. mostly because with the old system that we were using, MailChimp is used for a lot of like advertisement emails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Google by default was picking those up as spam. So we had reports of a lot more parents missing those emails previously. And with this, it's I don't really know the term, but it's more just treated as like an individual email. And so the success rate of it actually ending up in their inbox has been better. And then internally, it's been so much better because now, if a parent calls, the Barrytown registrar because their cell phone number changed, the registrar can update that, and it automatically, because we're all doing it within Infinite Campus, I don't have to update it on my end or anything like that. It just goes to the correct number. So like internally, it has just been like, 10 times better. So,
Okay.
so anyways, our turnaround time is much, much quicker now. But anyways, with Josh, I'll look into that for you, and I'll check yesterday's message logs and see what happened. The other thing too I wanted to bring up is it's not 100% COVID related, but it probably will be at some point if we can ever implement test to stay. And that's our volunteer pool, because we reached out for volunteers in, I think it was like middle of October or something like that. And I know Chris has been coordinating with Linda Rodriguez, who used to work at Berry City for many years. And she's going to kind of like, head up and manage our volunteers for us. But we have a pool of about 40 people so far that have signed up through the website. And, they have, different availabilities and whatnot. But we've reached out to principals and gotten a list of all their needs that they have in their school for volunteers. And so she's going to be reaching out to those volunteers and kind of matching them to those needs. And so I'm sure at some point, whenever we can implement test to stay, that's going to be one of those things that is going to we're really going to need volunteers for. And so anyways, we're moving forward in that process. We have someone who's truly organizing that now and reaching out to volunteers and making sure their background checked and get their fingerprints and the whole nine yards.
Guy, question, comment?
Just got answered.
Oh, okay. Very good. So next on our list after COVID.
Is that? I think it's other business. Yeah,
Okay.
other business.
Sonia?
I have a question for Josh. Is the Times Argus not doing those ads on the back of their? No,
Nope.
They're not doing that this year.
Nope. I reached out to to them, and then also to some of our other like surrounding districts, because I know like Montpelier always gets a page in there, and they hadn't heard anything from the Times Argus either.
Okay.
I don't know the reasoning behind that, but yeah, we always had like every 6 weeks or something like that, like a free page in the paper, and yeah, not happening this year.
Okay. I was just curious because we usually are talking about it and like how it coincides, and so I just realized we hadn't talked about it at all.
Yeah, no, I mean that was always a regular project for me, and yeah, it's not happening this year, I guess.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that covers other business, what do we have? Future Josh Howard, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, I missed the budget talk, but I was just hoping I could say a couple of things about it. Is that okay, Alice?
Yeah, how about we keep it limited?
I will. So the budget's coming up, and I just wanted to say that a lot of people in the area, they're pretty well struggling. They can use a break, and every time they see a budget increase, it hurts them a bit more. We got a homelessness crisis, and budgets keep going up. You kind of think I'm have to be a little bit connected. And I was talking to my wife earlier, and she had a good point. Like we go about the budget all wrong. We always go into it, try to limit increases, instead of saying, well, we need to go line item and ask a few simple questions. Being objective about it, saying, what would it look like without this item? What would it look like if we kept this item at no increase? And what would it look like if we cut some cost spending to this item? And we just don't do that. We just, it's like I keep saying, it's kind of more like a rubber stamp. But Barry area, we really need a break, and the schools can really help us out with that one. We've been tossing money at the problem to really no success. That's not working. So that's all I had to say about that.
And I think that would also, thank you, Josh Howard. I think that that's a good thing. And you might want to bring that to the listening session that we're going to have about budgets, because that kind of input is really valuable, not only for us as an individual committee to hear, but also the entire board and the district administration.
More than happy to. And, you know, my experience as being a financial guru there and going through and being an efficiency manager as well, to going to companies and cutting costs. I mean, I can bring that as well if you ever need a volunteer.
Very good. Thank you. Anything else? Are we at the future agenda items or around the table? Where are we, Josh? Josh
Yeah,
Allen.
I think items for future agenda.
Okay. I think we continue, you know, budget still continues to be at the top of our list.
Oh,
that we
definitely.
need to make that a primary item as we're moving forward during this season. And just keeping the information flowing about what is going on in the schools with the kids, not only with COVID, but how they're making progress with their studies. I think that's really important. As you talk about marketing, that's a real strong marketing piece, that we have a lot of programs, we have a lot of good things for kids, and let's show people what we have and how the kids are involved in them. That's really important, because that's our business. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So how do you want to list that as an agenda item, Alice?
Say again, Andrea.
So how do you want to list that as an agenda item?
How about
School promotion?
Or publicizing school activities?
Okay, and is that for this upcoming meeting, or is this going to be for in your parking lot?
Let's see. What do you think, Josh? Is that something? Is that too much to put on a following meeting?
I think it's okay. I mean, there'll be activities going on, so I mean,
Yeah,
like, that's a good time to do
and maybe
it.
you know, and a report of how that is being done. You know,
Yeah.
we all see the superintendent's videos, but they're very pointed toward one specific. So maybe we're looking more in a general report on how we're publicizing activities in schools.
Sure.
Okay.
Another thing I was thinking, and maybe we don't need to have it as part of this committee, because maybe it'll be discussed like at the board meeting, but because our next meeting is January 6th, and probably shortly after that, I would imagine we're going to be doing the superintendent community forums. And I don't know if we want to just discuss that next time for maybe some ideas or something, or maybe that's just something the board will talk to me about. I don't know, but I would imagine I'm going to be the one running those community forums, and they'll probably happen, you know, maybe a week or two after that next committee meeting. So I don't know. Maybe it's not something for this committee.
Well, maybe it could be something like if the full board brainstormed those ideas, we as a committee might be able to pick the most salient points, and so we're not running into a whole lot of time, but we want to get as much input and as many ideas, and then the fine points. So that might be a sort and sift time.
Yeah, and I might be able to at least update this committee on what my plan is for those. You know, we did them once, you know, in the past, but we'll do them again, and yeah, I just might be able to provide this committee more detail, and then maybe you could relay that to the board or something.
Okay, Andrea.
I just want to clarify with Josh, when you say the superintendent community forums, are you referring to the superintendent search community forums, or is this something different?
Yeah, so what happened last time, I'll use that as an example. There were two final candidates, and we had community forums that were entirely virtual, where I was in a call with the candidate and people were able to ask questions through the chat. And then basically I was just asking the candidate at the time those questions that were coming through the chat. So I was kind of the moderator. And and so anyways, it's just it's an open place where the community can ask any questions they want to the candidate who's currently up there. And I believe we did one for the community, and then we did another one individually for just our staff.
Okay.
And so we're not at the point yet to know how many candidates are going to be at that point, but we'll find out at least by January.
Guy?
Yeah, Josh, I just want your opinion on how much closer we are to talking about the branding issue. I know there's a lot of stuff that's, taken over, that particular issue. But as I take a look at the exciting news of what you've been doing tonight, it seems like, boy, we could be getting closer to discussing that particular topic, but I could be off base.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would love to. Like that sounds like one of the more exciting things, on the horizon, at least for me and probably other people too. I don't think there's, whether it's the name of the district or the way that our branding looks, I don't think anyone is too thrilled with it. So yeah, I mean, that's a massive project, especially if you want input from all stakeholders. But in my opinion, it's something that would be worth pursuing. It's just yeah, it's one of those things where you never know when it's the right time. And so I don't know, maybe it's one of those things like we did with the design team last year where we just do it because who knows when there's going to be a good time, and it needs to be done.
Mr. Howard, Josh Howard?
That's for naming the district, I'm assuming.
Name of the district and just overall like branding with the district. Like we don't have an official logo or, like a color scheme or, anything like that.
Well, I got a great suggestion for you. We have all these classrooms full of kids. They're creative and stuff like that. How about we go in and each classroom comes up with a name for the district out of all the schools, all the classrooms. They pick one for each classroom. They can teach how democracy works. They can come up with a bunch of ideas and narrow it down to that one and send it in. And then you send a list of all those things out again, and each kid gets to vote on one, and there you go. And of course, teachers can keep it appropriate, obviously, in the classroom. So it's a little bit monitored because, you got high school kids, and we all know. But that sounds like a fun thing for kids to do and teach them a little something at the same time.
And not to mention, we got some student artists in the district, too, who are super talented. So we're in need of a logo.
Yeah, same thing. Like each classroom can, make a logo or however it goes out. Sounds like a fun time. My kids would love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you. That's an excellent idea, Mr. Howard, Mr. Josh Howard. It's hard having two Joshes in the same room or the same Zoom. Anyhow.
So are you keeping that in the parking lot or are you adding it next month? It's already in the parking lot.
Yeah. I think we'll keep it there.
Okay.
Yeah, and how about this? Like, let me have a conversation with Chris about it, and who knows, we could pull it out. But I want to make sure that he's fully on board as well. So, but yeah. Me personally, like, I would love to do that work. Like, that sounds super fun and also like rewarding at the same time.
Well, the other suggestion I would make, that's why I asked the question, but obviously, when we have a more permanent leader, that may be the time to start talking about it too.
That's a good point.
I mean, the current leader or a different leader may have some ideas, and certainly you want to have their input in leadership. So, but I just wanted to get your sense, Josh, in terms of your workload and stuff. How close we are to it. So, I think you answered it. So you're not going to do it tomorrow, and if COVID continues, you probably won't do it, for a while. But
well, I mean, COVID's not going away anytime soon. It's more or less just the strain that we're under at that given moment. So
yeah.
But I mean, I hope we've seen the worst of it. So if this is the worst of it, we can survive. So
yeah, great. Well, thank you for the feedback. I also want to say, thanks for the exciting news tonight. I mean, it's like, building new stuff. It's really exciting. It's I'm not going to start having kids again, but maybe I get some grandkids to move in the area.
You can always adopt.
Well, I think also just to key in on to follow up with Guy all these other pieces, the marketing that's being done, the piece that's doing to create that, the app, all of those, the websites, that's all pyramiding up to the pinnacle of creating a brand. And so if we have that foundation in place, and then all this left is to create those external things for branding, the hard work is already done. So we'll have that all in place. So instead of creating the brand and then working down, we're working up toward it. And I think that's a good idea.
And Guy brought up a really good point too, of like, once we do have like a leader that we know is gonna, be here for at least for, the foreseeable future, maybe a way to look at it is like, we could do some of this branding towards the later half of this year. And then over the summer during that slow time, actually like put all of that in place, like rebrand the website, rebrand the mobile app, rebrand our letterheads, things like that, during that slow time. So then when the school year starts up again, like everything's in place, and we were able to put it in place because everything else wasn't bogging us down.
Yes. All righty. Anything else to add to future agenda items? Any other thoughts? Andrea?
Did you want to put under old business a mobile app update?
Yeah, that's a good idea because what is it, January 6th we meet? Like, I'm hoping it's out. So yes, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay, and there's probably nothing about promotion of out-of-state districts to add for the next meeting. You want to move that back to the parking lot so it doesn't get forgotten long term?
That's a good idea.
Yep. All righty. That having been said, does that mean we have reached the end of our time together?
I believe.
Andrea?
I knew there was one more. Do you want another COVID communication update, or are you all set on that for now?
Oh, I think that's probably pretty standard by now.
Okay.
Yeah, unless something major happens, I mean, I can bring it up, but for the last couple months, it's just kind of been the regular routine as we're always doing it.
So you don't really need it on the agenda?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. If we have like a major event coming up, like maybe like the implementation of like test to say or something, maybe I could discuss that. But if it's just, the regular COVID stuff, I don't see much of an update. I mean, we're still going to be doing the work, obviously, but nothing earth shattering.
Okay. So are we ready to close down for the evening?
As soon as Guy makes the motion.
Yes. Guy, do you want to make a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion, Alice. And with that, also, how's your husband doing?
He's doing very well. He's home. He's becoming more active, and it's fatiguing when the motor gets tinkered with. It takes time to come back. So February 14th is his birthday, and we're looking forward to having him fully up and running by February 14th.
Excellent. Great news.
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
All righty. So now that we have adjourned, we will
so Alice, I'll put you on
and do what we need to do.
Okay, so Guy, you were the first. Alice, I'm going to mark you as the second because you're the only committee member here.
And we are in full consensus.
All right, folks.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you all.
See you next
Good
week.
night.
See you next week. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah. Have a good night.